So today we're going to dive into a really powerful passage from the Quran's Surah Al-Baqarah. And it's all about this divine challenge that's designed to expose the gap between what we say we believe and what's actually truly in our hearts.
The whole discussion kicks off with this incredibly sharp question. Just imagine someone told you that paradise, the ultimate reward, was guaranteed for you and you alone. If you really, truly believe that, wouldn't you be kind of excited to get there? Well, that's the heart of the challenge being laid out here.
Now, what's so fascinating is that this isn't a genuine question where God is looking for an answer. Nope. The source material calls it a question of rebuke. It's more like a rhetorical question meant to expose the insincerity of their claim. He's basically calling their bluff.
And here it is, the challenge laid out plain and simple. It's a test of sincerity. The logic is just airtight. If you're so sure that this amazing reward is waiting for you right after you die, then you should be welcoming death, right? But the real kicker is that last little phrase, if you should be truthful.
And get this, right after the challenge is made, the divine text gives the answer. It says they will never wish for it. And why not? Because of what their hands have put forth, which is just a powerful way of saying because of their deeds. Deep down, they know what's really waiting for them, and it's not the paradise they're claiming.
So this leads us to the first big reason for their refusal, a really, really deep attachment and greed for this worldly life.
I mean, the language here is just incredibly strong. They're described as the most greedy people for life. And then there's this jaw-dropping comparison. Their greed for this life is even greater than that of polytheists, the very people who you'd think would cling to this world the most since they don't have a solid belief in a rewarding afterlife. Wow.
And this isn't just some casual, I'd like to live a long life kind of wish. No, this is a desire for an impossibly long life. The verse says that each one of them wishes they could live for 1,000 years. It's the ultimate symbol of their focus on this world.
But then, boom, a reality check. The verse uses this very specific Arabic word, muzazeh. It means to be spared or moved away from something. And here's the point. Even if they got their wish, even if they lived for 1,000 years, it would not save them from their punishment. A long life in this world has absolutely no effect on your accountability in the next.
Okay, so the passage then kind of shifts gears. It moves from why they cling to this life to who they were rejecting. And it wasn't just the message they had a problem with, it was the messenger himself, the angel Gabriel.
So on one hand, their claim was that the angel Gabriel was their enemy, maybe a bringer of bad news or hardship, but the Quran corrects this instantly. It makes it crystal clear that Gabriel doesn't just do whatever he wants. He brings down revelation only by God's permission. He's the delivery guy, not the one who wrote the message.
And just think about what they were rejecting by making an enemy of him. The revelation he brought did three incredible things. It confirmed the scriptures they already had, it gave them clear guidance for their lives, and it was a source of great news for anyone who believed.
And this leads to an incredibly powerful and sobering conclusion. If you declare that you're an enemy to God's angels, like Gabriel and Michael, and his messengers, well, you've pretty much declared yourself an enemy of God himself. You just can't separate the message and the messenger from the source.
And this rejection, you see, wasn't just a one-off thing. It was part of a much bigger, historical pattern of breaking sacred promises and covenants.
The scripture points out this loop they were stuck in. It wasn't a one-time mistake or a simple slip-up. It was a consistent pattern where every single time a covenant was made, a group among them would just discard it. It was the rule, not the exception.
And the Arabic word used here is so specific, nabadeh. This isn't just passively forgetting or letting something lapse. It means to actively throw something away, to cast it aside like it's worthless. It really highlights that their rejection was a conscious choice. And this right here is the climax of that whole pattern. When a new messenger came, confirming what they already had, a group of them took the very book of Allah and literally threw it behind their backs. But it's that final line that's the most devastating. As if they did not know. They pretended to be ignorant of the very truth they were supposed to be experts in.
So, after going through this divine challenge, this greed for life, this pattern of rejection, what's the big takeaway for us? Well, the verses pivot from this specific story to a timeless lesson about what faith really is. The lessons are just so clear. First, true faith isn't about what you say, it's about what you do. Your actions have to back up your claims. Second, being too attached to this world can literally blind you to spiritual truth. Third, you can't reject the message without also rejecting the one who sent it. And finally,
Any promise we make to God demands real, sincere commitment, not just lip service.
And that leaves us with one final thought to really chew on. That image of people throwing the book behind their backs as if they did not know is so powerful. It forces us to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, in my own life, what's the real difference between truly knowing something in a way that actually changes how I live and just claiming to believe it?